Welcome, friends. It's Tanked Up, the podcast. All about video games and beer. I'm Ben, here with Lucy.
Hi.
And Aadil.
We missed you, Lucy. Also, hello, everyone else.
It's true. It's episode 333, and in a slight change to the schedule, we're going to be talking about games this episode. You've already had 332, where Aadil and I run through a topic which happened to be some of the not E3 things. So go back, listen to that if you fancy. But we're going to be talking about games on this episode, and of course, drinking some beers. I'm going to open up a beer. It is from Pomona Island. It's called Iron Bloke. And it's a salted chocolate stout. It's not really the weather for stouts, but I haven't had one for ages. Mm-hmm. And when I saw this in the shop, I'm like, ooh, salted chocolate. Okay, let's see what this is. It's 7%. I enjoy the flavour textures. I'll show you the can. It's almost like Mask, but sort of a face hugger over the bad guy from Mask. I'm not really sure. The flavour text is I am salted chocolate stout. That's it. So yeah.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, exactly. I shall crack this open. Naddle, what are you going to do?
It's me. I'm having the second of the Garden Brewery, another Garden Brewery collab of the series that they've just done. This time it's with Lervig. Muskox, Dovrefell, Norway, present in huge numbers until hunted to extinction, reintroduced 1947. So the whole series is like environmentally oriented, and it's collabs. I missed this on the other can. I don't know why. It's the Restore Our Earth Collab Fest 2022, where they teamed up with 16 breweries, friends from 16 different nations to create 16 collab beers. And this is the Norway and Garden Brewery one. And it is the West Coast Double Dry Hopped IPA. Assertive, dank, resinous, and chewy. A classic West Coast IPA with modern hop products Spectrum and Incognito. And it is a lithe 6%? Did I make that up? 6%, yeah. And look, it's the muskox that I talked about before. Look at them cute faces.
I mean,
so I'm gonna pour this beer, and you're gonna.
You
disagree?
I like a flavor text where they're like, "We're here to help restore the Earth." The muskox, which almost went extinct, but was reintroduced in 1947. That's a long time. You know, that must be one of the like early, like at least kind of within our century. You know, a war and lots of shit was happening in the early years. But that's very early, you would think, to kind of try and reintroduce. I think there's lots of stuff going on now, especially in sort of like the UK and Scotland and other places of reintroduction of certain animals, and even down here in the southwest, you know, like certain kind of animals that are kind of being reintroduced. That's very ahead of its time, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
things
know
were
when
going extinct at like the early 1900s and late 1800s. So it's like maybe, oh no, we can't get our dodo eggs for breakfast anymore.
Yeah, it might be that we just don't hear about them as often as we could.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, to be fair, what's 1947? That's before the heydays of the 50s and 60s, where the boomer generation started fucking the planet over because they stopped caring about the world because they didn't realize the rest of the world mattered because they were too busy practicing free love, except for the planet. Oh, I'm sorry. This is our game episode, not our political rant episode.
I mean, it can be.
Let's see if I can pour this beer without spilling. Oh, also, I figured out a trick. I keep doing this for the pours when I could just do this, roll back, and pour at a reasonable height.
Oh, that's true.
I'm an idiot. I've been doing this for like 2 years with my weird gymnastics.
That's fine. As you would expect from my beer, it's a stout.
Oh, Jesus.
It's very dark, of course. It's as black as my top. Even blacker, in fact. even like deeper. It's like just devoid. And it's thick. It's lovely. It was lovely and carbonated. I feel that even at 7%, it's going to be a little bit thin because it was very carbonated, and the head has gone really, really quickly from this. But the nose is like all sorts of like burnt. I know it was salted chocolate, and you're getting a little bit of that salt, but I think only in terms of enhancing kind of a really incredibly like burnt roasted note on the nose.
Oh,
it's
interesting.
Really, unlike the previous episode's beer, which was incredibly inviting, this isn't doing very much for me. It's not sort of saying, hey, you should drink this. It's kind of saying,
I'd be really curious to see how your palate acclimatizes. If it's that, like, let's say distinct, to use a neutral word.
So, I like the flavour. I'll say that straight away. It's got a very smooth mouthfeel. I was saying, actually, it feels like it's going to be very thin because of that carbonation and the lack of head. It's very smooth. It does have lactose. It does have oats in. And I only know that because they are allergens, along with barley and wheat. But it's actually really smooth. That's lovely. But that burnt note, and I can absolutely pick up on it now, it's almost pure licorice. It is not much more than that. It's very, very licorice.
I don't like licorice too much, though. That being the overwhelming taste sounds a bit off-putting.
So like, I don't like licorice a huge amount. I'll eat it. That's fine. But it's not like a sweet that I would go to. It's not a sweet that I would pick. But this, and I don't think I've ever really picked up on licorice before, kind of being a very burnt sort of flavour. It's very kind of almost like a sour bitterness, I suppose. It's kind of like very earthy. Again, a little bit. I mean, I'm not getting any chocolate from this at all. When I said I am salted chocolate, I'm not sure what salted chocolate I've had. Like sea salt kind of milk chocolate I've had before, or like salted caramel I've had before. I don't think I've had like a salted 80% dark chocolate or anything like that before, which I would imagine this is getting a little bit more towards. But the overriding flavour is licorice. You don't get much more than that. I'll have to see if this opens up a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to.
Interesting.
I'll give more notes later. Aadil, we'll come back to you.
So this is quite. Given that the Hellas I had last episode was kind of hazy. As a West Coast Double Dry Hopped IPA, I was expecting something along those hazes lines, and it's like you can see my eye through the beer. Yep. Ooh, creepy. Why did I do that? It's quite clear, but it's this lovely sort of coppery color. Poured with very little head, but it's it's got decent lacing, thin layer on top. The nose is quite light, which I was not really expecting, giving this double dry hopped. But it's got depth to it. There's a sweetness, a floralness.
Okay.
But almost no bitter. Such a delicate nose. Delicate's a better word than light. And I swear there's a bit of appliness, but I'm guessing that's just from that very apple-forward beer I had before this.
It's a lovely colour.
Isn't it, though? Isn't it? I'm trying to acclimatize and blend in.
You've only been here, like, 15 years. It's fine.
It is kind of crazy that my accent is not that much different. Like, I know people who've been here for like 3 years, and they like have warped. I don't. Anyway, it's probably because every week I do this like announcer voice reading of a beer can.
That's what keeps you true and honest.
Yeah. Oh, this is really also light and delicate. It's got a lovely latent sort of slightly piney bitterness that just sort of lingers. But again, there's that overriding a bit of sweetness that's just keeping it feeling delicate.
Mm-hmm.
Tastes about 6%. It's got good mouthfeel. There's almost no tropical or anything. It's like I would say more like a classic IPA from before IPA became an experimental genre, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not quite sort of prototypical West Coast, but it's really nice. There is a bit of that. There's a bit of that bitterness has a bit of a piney and like metallicness to it.
Okay.
But like I said, there's still that light, delicate, slightly sweet floral on top of it, which just makes it like it's like a. It's gonna sound like a bad description, but like it's like a bog standard IPA with a very interesting, slightly piney, metallic finish, and on top just this swipe of sweet and floral, which was why it's not a bog standard IPA. I just mean like the core taste is what you'd expect from an IPA, and then it has these interesting notes that aren't very strong. So you could, if you want an IPA and you didn't like those things, you wouldn't notice them that much. But if you, this is a beer you want to sit and sip, rather than like throw back because there's these boisterous tastes that you just want to reintroduce. Much like yours, I am now curious once my palate gets used to it, what will ensue. Yours, whether it'll become more appetizing, more interesting. Mine, whether there's things I'm missing or whether there'll be more depth to be found as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. Cool. So let's then jump into our gaming chat for this week. Lucy, as you weren't on the previous episode, I know there is a game that both you and Aadil have been playing that you want to talk about, but is there anything else that you want to launch in to start with?
Still plodding away at Freshly Frosted, almost finished that. Really enjoying that. One puzzle took me a very, very long time. So, yeah, still, I think I'm on the last, or maybe the penultimate last set of levels. So, yeah, really enjoying that still.
Nice.
I played and finished Bugsnax. I think I started about 3 weeks ago. I know Aadil played that on a stream, I think, a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I first looked at it, so I only played the first hour and a half, well, about 2 hours, but I was playing pretty leisurely.
Yeah, I think I started it around maybe just before or maybe just after you try it out. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a very cutesy game. I really enjoyed the characters. I mean, the voice acting is really good. I think they've got like some top tier talent on the voice cast. So yeah, those characters are really personable and likable, and I like the game. It's basically like kind of a Pokemon-ish game that doesn't last 40, 50 hours and it's just rote as hell. But yeah, I really enjoyed Bugsnax. Even better that it was free on Game Pass.
Nice.
And I've been playing Cookie Clicker, except on the Playdate, which is called Cookie Cranker. Because
it makes it 100 times naughtier sounding.
Yeah, that's just plugging away in the background on my Playdate. Yeah, that's all the eyebrows. But yeah, because I never got into Cookie Clicker that much. I was always a Universal Paperclips girl. I just like that kind of like sterile and very corporate look of Universal Paperclips compared to Cookie Clicker. So, but yeah, I'm working my way through the Playdate Season 1 games, and one I've really enjoyed is called Flipper Lifter, where you're basically just moving a elevator up and down a few floors, different levels. The elevator can go side to side, up and down, and stuff like that. But you're basically delivering penguins off at different floors of this.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Skyscraping tower that keeps getting taller and taller as the longer you go. But yeah, just really neat little experiences on there. But yeah, that's That's all I can think of. That I've
Okay.
been playing
Okay.
recently. Yeah.
I might just jump in very quickly then, just to say I again barely played anything apart from Planet Zoo. It would have been a good launching point for me to jump in and say I've been playing the conservation pack, which has just come out when Ada was talking about the muskox and the reintroduction. But there will be a much bigger article going up on Out of Lives next week about the conservation pack. I managed to get a few questions in with the developers as well, so that will be up on the site for everyone to see. But I did try Pompey that you put us onto last week, Lucy.
Yeah.
Which I've very much been enjoying.
Good.
And I also, because I really liked the Time Flies kind of trailer and chat from the dev at the Day of the Devs talk on E3. Kids was, which they previously developed, Kids was like £2 on the Play Store. And the Play Store was like, here, have £2 just to buy whatever you like. I'm like, well,
of course,
this basically makes this like 3 pence.
Yeah.
So I've just played Kids as well.
The one where it's like black and white, like mass of
yes,
little
move
people.
human through the hole, move human through the big crowd of space. Yeah, very kind of abstract, but great in that sort of sense of being like, what have I got to do here? Well, does it matter? What do here? Just experiment, just move around, just play.
Have you played Plug and Play?
No.
The previous game?
No.
Okay, yeah, play that. That might be... Well, if it's not free, it's a very similar low price. Steam sales on now, so probably pick it up for pennies. Yeah, I think it's like just today. So yeah, that's another very weird human centipede like kind of game. Weird little experience. So yeah, definitely recommend that.
Nice. And that's it. That's all I've been kind of playing with this week. Aadil.
Oh, can I just
of course.
quick PSA.
Absolutely.
If anyone is struggling to play a demo off like Steam or something like that, a time-based demo, because demos are time-based now, which is ridiculous. Basically, I wanted to try Neon White because I was looking forward to that game for a bit, and it's like, oh, it came out, was it last week or something? But it was like, oh, suddenly it's out, and it's like, okay, I never got around to the demo. I want to try it. Launch the demo. It's like, well, you can't launch the demo. Simply can't out of your Steam library. And I think I might have known this before, but someone, I just looked on the Steam forums for Neon White. I was thinking, is there anywhere else I can play the demo? Maybe it's on Switch or something. But someone said if you've already downloaded it and it's on your computer, just go into the Steam files and you can launch it from there. It's like, I think I knew that, but I think I forgot it as well. So it's like just a good reminder, because as soon as I started playing it, I was like, okay, it took maybe, I'd say generously 5 minutes before I just went to the store and bought it, because that game seems really good.
Nice.
I'm it's on my radar. I just have been trying to be patient about it.
Yeah, I was just like recently gifted a Steam.
I mean, if you have the Steam credit.
Yeah, I was gonna wait for the sale, Steam sale, and see if I wanted something else, but I was just like, no, I'm just gonna buy Neon.
I mean,
that's fair.
It's 10% off on the Steam sale. It's nothing.
Oh, it was I didn't know if because it was 10% off as its launch sale. I don't know if that would have gone away.
They just rolled through that 10% for the next couple of weeks as well.
That's good. I mean, like, more word of mouth gets out, more people want to pick it up and be incentivized by that 10% discount. But yeah, I will play that as soon as I finish the game that we're going to talk about.
Okay, cool. I did play a couple of demos as well from the Next Fest, and I got a few more in my library ready to go. So I got Brewmaster, Broken Pieces, and The Last Worker kind of ready to go to be able to play, but I haven't got to them yet. But I did try Terra Nil, which was one of those games which we were talking about, kind of because lots of articles have been kind of written about that new Free Lives game, and I tried Cybercorp as well. Both kind of looked good just from scrolling through the the Next Fest kind of stuff. But I won't talk about them. I've only spent a very small amount of time with them, and you know, as demos go, both of them were fine. They give me a good understanding about what that game is going to be, and we shall see the price points that they kind of come out at to see if they are worth, or at least what I think they are worth.
I've been tinkering with a few demos. The only one I'd probably say check out is Angerfoot.
Oh, was there a demo for that?
Yeah, it might still be live. But yeah, go play that because it's one of those where it's like same with Neon White. It's like okay, this just goes. It's like
the demo is still out.
I'm downloading it now.
Oh,
if my internet craps out and the frame rate on our stream goes to shit, then you know why.
Yeah, I actually knew about this game through Loading Ready Run's Watch and Play series, where normally they play bad games that are terrible, and this was it was a palate quencher that someone was like, "Hey, this is up your alley." I was like, "Oh my god, this game looks ridiculous."
Yeah.
So I also didn't realize
it was Miami.
Yeah, it was exactly. That's exactly what I said in the article. Yeah,
it's great. Looks great.
Feels great, and it's just
good.
It's not even supposed to come out for another year, unfortunately.
I know, because I was like, okay, I'm not deleting this demo because sometimes I just may want a little hit of it.
Yeah, it's really
brilliant. I mean, I didn't even click download, and everyone was going a little bit jumpy, so I'm going to wait. I'm not going to download it now. But at least I know that it is there.
If it's on there, I mean, the Steam demo fest was meant to end on Monday or something.
Yes.
So I think you could.
Yeah, I think if normally if they've got a demo, you're at least safe until like a month before launch.
Yeah. I mean,
because even then they'll cut the demo after launch, but they won't cut it before because that's just drumming up business, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless the demo is atrocious, in which case don't play it. It's atrocious.
A lot of
but then you have Neon White and that got taken there. It's just like I'd love to see the data on what is beneficial in terms of time-based versus
and conversion rates, right?
Like 100,000 people played the demo, 10 people bought the game.
I guarantee that it's a lot of people play the demo and buy the game.
Oh, absolutely.
We've been doing this for like 40 years.
I was going to say, this is why I'm surprised that they pulled the demo.
Yeah.
Well, the game's out, isn't it? So it's a bit different than being kind of a year away. Unlike
I guess.
But yeah, I will definitely.
I mean, actually, if you have the hype, there's no reason to give away the demo because
maybe
that might dissuade people. But if people are coming because it is currently quite a zeitgeisty game, lots of people are talking about it. So it kind of makes sense that once it's out, you don't need the demo to be like convincing people.
Yeah, but I mean, I wanted to play it because it's like I want to see if it works. I'm not a mouse and keyboard player. I wanted to see if it works good enough just with controller.
Yeah, I know, I get
my
it.
motion sickness and stuff like that. So
I get it. I'm just saying I can understand from the cynical corporate thing that it's like if we're currently really popular, there's no reason to give people an experience they might then say no to when we've got we've got this inertia that will probably just sell the 20 quid game.
And then put out a demo when
the demo will come back in like 8 months or 6 months or whatever. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I wish it wasn't like that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely. Well, let's get on to a game which is, I mean, we're talking about a game which is out, but let's talk about a game which we've played, which is out. Aadil and Lucy, you guys have been plugging away at Shredder's Revenge. TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah. It is by the people who made Streets of Rage 4, and you can tell because they get how to keep making arcade brawlers that feel like they always were. This is just like a modern Hyperstone Heist or Turtles in Time. There's obviously it's snappy to run, but like I think sometimes we forget because it's a simple genre just how important the timing of feedback is. And I've played brawlers that just don't have this, and this feels like on the controller. I'm on my fucking Bluetooth. It doesn't matter. Like I push the button, it connects, and like the feedback of the animations and the hitboxes are all exactly what I would expect as someone who grew up on these games which is really important because
Nice.
nostalgia sells these games. But also, it's a tight machine, so it's good gameplay wise in general, right? Like, it's not just about making me feel like I'm playing it. It's also like, oh, this is also a good. This was honed in the '90s, and
Yeah.
they figured out how to keep the base. I'm sure they've done optimizations that are make it much better, but it feels like it, and that's a good thing because that's why these games were great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
I've been playing it on my Steam Deck via
yeah,
xCloud, and because I was like, oh, do I really want to play this twitchy, brawler on via cloud? But I've experienced no latency, no input lag. It just works seamlessly. Like, and it looks really good and looks really sharp on the Steam
oh,
Deck. So yeah,
I bet.
it works fantastically
Uh,
via the cloud. So
Nice.
um, I didn't get a chance on stream because I was just having too much fun. I forgot. Like normally I would switch from story to arcade mode to try it out. I just played story mode for an hour, took a break, and then played story mode for another hour. I got about 10 episodes in.
yeah,
Um,
I'm exactly where you are.
yeah, I'm on episode
Episode 10.
11.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like I'm trying to savor it because I'm enjoying it like so much, but
yeah,
and it is short. I think there's only like 16, 15, 16 levels.
yeah. I didn't look it
Which
up
is
because I
a
didn't
couple
want to know.
hours.
But also, I
Mhm.
will say,
Sorry,
nah,
sorry.
it's fine. I mean, I knew it was gonna be under 20 just by
Yeah.
based on like the plot. Like
Mhm.
they've got the head of Krang's body and they found the legs and the torso. It's like, well, there's
Yeah.
not many episodes left if they've got all the pieces, right? But I will say that I like that there are there's a leveling up mechanic that really doesn't matter, but kind of does. Like you get more hit points, etc. if you level up characters, and each um episode level has like goals to get, like chivos, like don't get hit by more than 2 traps or whatever, and that will give you bonuses, etc. And that's a nice way of giving a reason for people who are really into the game to repeat it, because sometimes humans are really dumb. It's like, I really like this game, but I won't play it again because I finished it. Oh, but I will play it again because on that level I didn't do this weird thing, even though what I really want to do is just play this again. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
we need a reason to. But like they've done it's such a good balance because I could feel like I played a lot of levels of Splinter and I could feel that the extra hit point or the extra life and like I could feel the difference of leveling up a couple of times, but it really wouldn't have mattered if I hadn't. It wouldn't have changed things that much, but I did feel like I was rewarded. Having said that, I will say my number one complaint is how you change characters in story mode was obtuse, and I was streaming and I didn't think around it enough because I was on the main map. So what happens is my favorite character is Donatello. You can tell by my controller. Um, and he wasn't great in this particular level. He was actually awful because I got way better when I switched to Splinter. Because I was like, I'm just gonna do one of the non-turtle characters. Because when are you ever gonna see them? And then I didn't. Then I was Splinter, and I kept beating levels as Splinter and never dying, like game overing. So it's just Splinter for the rest of my run, which is fine for a stream. I'm just trying out the game, but it's like I was obsessed with Donatello. I'm trying to like nostalgia boner myself. I have to play this game as Donatello, even if this is suboptimal for certain levels. I'm happy to pass a level on stream because I need to with a different character and try a different one out. But like I want to be able to switch back. And the way you switch characters, I found out immediately after the stream, is you have to leave. So you have buttons that get into the turtle layer where you can look at your chivos and do some weird stuff, or you move around levels and you pick things, or you can party. Those are the things they say. And then if you hit start and say leave the world map, it takes you to the character select screen, which you can then select your character and go right back in the world map. But that's not advertised at all. Like, there's a part of the stream, if you watch the VOD, where I'm literally trying to push every button because I'm like, I want to play as my stupid character that I want to play as because I'm 8 and I have my character, and you don't get to play him, I get to play him, right? Like, I'm in that mindset, and it's great, and I don't know how to do it. And never in my wildest dreams would I think leave the game, like make the game think you're quitting, and then you can just switch characters. It's like my entirely 100% of my gripes with the game was this small thing, which again, some people would just be like, I don't know, I hit start, it said exit the world map, I tried that and it'd be okay. But it's really unintuitive.
Hmm.
And mostly because there's no ear markers, right? There's not like press start and then it'll be like switch characters, hit X, leave map, hit X. Anyway, that's my gripe. That's it. The rest worked so well.
That's good. That's good. Lucy, have you played as lots of different characters? Kind of as with Aadil, kind of did you pick a character and kind of run through with them?
Yeah, just like him, I'm getting my, as he quoted,
Leveling up.
nostalgia boner. I'm playing as Mikey because he's my favorite turtle. So, and yeah, I've just been playing as him. Even though I said like, okay, I'm taking my time. I don't want to, overindulge and play it all in one sitting because I'm enjoying it so much. I will go back and play as, the other turtles, Casey, April, and stuff like that again because Streets of Rage 4, I played that, quite a few
You
times.
100%ed it, didn't you?
I don't think
Or
I
close?
100%ed it, but I definitely played it. I played it like a couple times on PC and maybe once over on Xbox or something like that. But yeah, like I replay it. I'm enjoying it more than Streets of Rage 4. Maybe because I have more connection and nostalgia to the turtles, more so than Streets of Rage 4. Streets of Rage character, sorry, and it's just faster and more fluid. Streets of Rage is slower by design. I played as probably the fastest character in that game, which was her name Cherry Hunter or something like that? Yeah,
Cherry's really good.
Yeah, she had like a dash or something like that, and then run and stuff. But yeah, so pick the fastest character in that, and even that, it still felt, by design, because that's what Streets of Rage is, a bit slow, a bit tanky. This just feels, far more fluid and fast, and the animations are great, as Aadil said. Like, it's colourful, it's a property that I have a lot of fondness for, so yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to replay it a couple of times. I've been breezing through it. It's like Streets of Rage, like, I found most of those levels easy, but some of the levels I had to replay naturally.
Yeah.
There was one level where I had to like get a handicap for it because it was so hard. And it was like, I think it was some elevator level or something like that.
This very much feels like they know what they're doing because it's the same devs, right? And they're just like, this is not targeted at just 40-year-olds. Yeah,
Kids will play this too.
This is for the 40-year-olds who were 8 and the 8-year-olds who are 8.
Yeah, because Turtles have been around for every generation, whereas Streets of Rage hasn't.
So I did not breeze through this game because this game also made me feel like the old school games, because there's like episode 3 or 4 or something like that is you're on the skateboard and it's a vehicle level.
The hoverboard,
and there were certain enemies that, as Donatello on the hoverboard, were really hard to hit, and I like struggled.
I
and
just did like the uppercut thing that Mikey has. I don't know.
So Donatello doesn't have like a. Right. Yeah, it's fine, right? Because you do get other characters, and that's when I switched to Splinter. But I really I died, and I was like, oh shit, I died, and then I played again, and it was like, oh fuck, I'm not gonna get through this, and then I didn't, and then I switched to Splinter, and Splinter's also kind of not that fast, kind of ranged, but just slightly different, and that difference in speed and more of his move animations made there were certain enemies that were taking me ages to kill. The foot soldiers with the rocket packs that do the 3 shots sort of at an angle. They're just really hard to time. I don't think well air depth wise in these games.
Use your dodge B.
Yeah, it wasn't working.
Dodge roll. Oh, okay.
Well, no, I could not get hit. I just couldn't hit them because Donnie was so slow in his jump attacks. But with Splinter, who was not that much faster, the first time I saw them, it was like, oh, I didn't get hit. I killed two of them in a row. It's like, which I really appreciate, because that means there's a point to playing the other. It's not skins, right? It's not just like which is your favorite. They all kind of act the same. It's like, oh, actually, no, this is functionally different, and these guys are so easy. But also, I know in the boss fight, Donnie, because he had range and it was a moving vehicle, would have been way easier to do the boss fight. Like, I just having played both characters in that level, I really appreciate that. But also, I was just like, ah, yes, old games where there was a stupid vehicle level and all the things you learned don't matter because everything's different. Aha!
They're really
They
good.
even
They're
included
really good.
this.
Yeah, they're very good, those levels. But I've enjoyed every single level so far. And yeah,
I did.
maybe I just
I,
picked the OP turtle because
I,
I wish I put it on hard because this is
oh,
far
you
too
also are
easy
playing
and
at okay or whatever the middle level is.
the middle one, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just like, yeah, this is. It's almost a joke how easy it is with Mikey, at least.
Well, I was gonna say there. I basically didn't have trouble. Like as on stream, sometimes you can be like, "Oh, I'm trying to be entertaining, and my skill level is dropped." And in this game, it was like it did, but it didn't matter to the point where it's like, okay, I'm at the end of a boss, and I can like, I notice I'm being sloppy, but I'm looking at his health bar and my health bar, and I can just face roll the rest of this.
Exactly.
Like, I
I'm
just know
like,
I can face roll this.
It's like I've usually got all my lives left by the time I hit the
Yeah.
boss, and it's like, yeah, because they've just finely tuned it to give you a pizza when you need it. So, yeah.
Oh, the worst is when you do that one level where you're like, I've got one hit point.
Yeah, and the pizza's like you die, and then the
And you're
pizza's
like, and you
on the
die,
next
and then you
screen.
kill the next, and then you kill 3 enemies. And it's like, here's a pizza. It's like, fuck you. They didn't even touch me.
Yeah.
But then I did have a level where it's like I went way too long at one hit point and got to the pizza, and it was like, see, these simple pleasures you don't get.
It's really good.
I love Street Fighter 4. It's one of those games that does.
Street Fighter 4 or Streets of Rage 4?
Fucking hell, yeah, Streets of Rage 4. Fucking hell.
I was like, Ben's like, fuck this brawler talk. I want to talk fighting games.
Streets of Rage 4. I do really enjoy Streets of Rage 4, and it's one of those games that pulls me back in a lot. I'm like, well, I've got like 10 minutes. I'll just, bash away at that for a little bit. Like, this seems like it sits in the same kind of space, right? That you're kind of like, yeah, I've got 10 minutes. I'll just do a quick level, or I'll just jump in as a different character and sort of do something else. And it's kind of, we've kind of alluded to it a little bit. One of those where you maybe have a little bit of nostalgia for early Mega Drive games and, Streets of Rage and those kinds of things, or you've got a bit of nostalgia for the Turtles. Do you think there's especially with it being the same kind of dev publisher, is there a little bit of competition with this kind of stuff between these kinds of games? Are the devs like, right, Streets of Rage 4 has had its time, it's done all the sales we need, we can see that it's tailing off. This is then when we want to release Turtles. We're already working on it. We know it's going to come out. It fits our mold really well. We're going to be able to hit this kind of. So is this the optimal time that we should release it?
I think maybe with something like Streets of Rage, you could have that timing, but the world of intellectual property is just too complicated for me to believe that the developer could sit on a thing for 8 months because of the previous property. Like, this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, they were commissioned to make the game probably on the back of their success of Streets of Rage 4. And then there were timelines that corporate set, and like, yeah, because you have to remember, we aged out of watching Ninja Turtles, but there are like 7 other versions of the series. I mean, sorry.
Out of anything.
I mean, have you seen all the series?
No, the last one I watched, I think, was one that was airing in like the mid-2000s.
I was gonna say the last one I watched was when they introduced Venus de Milo, and I was so pissed at the fucking misogyny of introducing a female turtle and making her a work of Renaissance art versus a Renaissance artist. It's like, that's fuck you. Don't do it right, or don't do it at all.
But there's a new cartoon, right, in the last, let's say 3 or 5 years.
There was one in the like late teens.
Well, they're
And
all
I think there's
fucking
one
buff
new.
as fuck. Like,
Yeah. There's like this one. I mean, there's like probably been 5 series, and I've seen 2, maybe 3 of them.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's what I mean about like I have lost touch with its cultural importance to kids, which has actually been. I mean, obviously it's stopped being the #1 kids show when we stopped on our era, but it still was a kids show that people watch, and and they've come up with new iterations and they have market share, and so there's no way this game didn't have tight timelines or like corporate oversight in that way. I just don't buy that like they could have planned around that.
Hmm. I think with something like the Turtles, you've got, even though it's probably coincided with something like a new show or something like that, or comic series, I don't know. It's just evergreen, so it's like put this out any time. There's going to be several generations of people wanting to play it, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree that it is evergreen. I just don't agree that like
they sat on it. Yeah.
that they would have the option, I
Yeah.
guess.
I hope they're like, I hope they get to make like other licensed ones like X-Men or Simpsons, or even if it's
Oh
like a
man.
property, like, I don't know, a new property, let's say Stranger Things or something I have no great love or affinity to, or something like that. Just this kind of model is just great for like licensed characters, you know? It's
Yeah.
just like,
Because if the gameplay's decent and they are very good at it, it's more than decent. I mean,
Yeah.
this is why those arcade games were licensed in the first place, right? Then in the
Mhm.
90s, you had this game times a million. Like the original brawlers were random things, like that King Arthur game. Oh, great early 2D brawler. And then it was like, oh, if we license it, people play this one versus King Arthur. And then and a lot of them were okay or good. Like the Simpsons one was more good than it deserved
Yeah.
to be.
You've got the foundation, just slap
Yeah.
some, different skins on it, and
But
good
what
to
I like
go.
about this is this didn't feel like Streets of Rage 4. So like
No,
it's not
it's
it's
completely
not a
different.
cynical reskin.
Exactly. That's kind of like part of I suppose part of my point. It has gone through a lot more development. It isn't just kind of like, oh, we could just bash this out in 6 months' time, just reskinning Streets of Rage 4 and then kind of release it. Like, it is a maybe not a ground up kind of game, but there's a lot of code that they could probably use in the same kind of engine and stuff. But
Yeah, but it's still a different beast.
Yeah, and it is a different beast, and it seemed from what I watched of you
a
playing
turtle.
it the other day, Aadil, it's very different in terms of the flow and how it actually kind of like works and those sorts of things. It is a different
Yeah,
game.
and like Lucy said, even the speed of the enemies and stuff, it's just a different game.
It's so much faster paced, and it's like it's much easier to like juggle characters and just keep them in the air and get really long combos like in the hundreds.
Yeah, I was like, I found a couple of spots where it's just like, well, this is just gonna go until my finger gets tired. This is great.
So yeah, I just prefer this faster paced gameplay in general. So
well, also there's a point because your special builds up based on your like hits, basically, as far as I can tell, right? And so if you do find one of these exploit spots where you're just like, these two mousers are just gonna bounce against the wall, which I also like that they treat the walls of the screen as walls, even if they're not functional walls. That's a really smart thing to do because it encourages juggling in the way that those original games never did. Because the Streets of Rage 2, you'd knock a guy out, like you'd get the throw, you'd throw him out, he doesn't die, and then you have to wait like 15 seconds for him to slowly walk back on screen just to punch him again, and he only needed the one extra punch, and you're like, for fuck's sake, game. And this would happen all the time. And then in this game, it's like, no, they'll bounce off the wall. Great. Not only will you not have that waiting time, but also gives you more interesting gameplay opportunities if you can exploit the bounce, which you can.
I think
it's just really good. It's like the perfect summer game, and yeah, I'm really glad it came to Game Pass.
Nice.
Oh god, yeah, and the fact that if you've got Game Pass, you can just play this game and it costs you nothing extra is ridiculous.
Costs nothing and just rewards so much because it's so fun. It's nostalgia and it's just all the nostalgia, and the music's great. We didn't even talk about the music.
Yeah.
The music's fantastic.
Well, the music is great.
I'm just gonna. I mean, Streets of Rage 4 had a few okay tracks, but it wasn't like the popping soundtracks of Streets of Rage of yore. It was kind of like
I will
a
say
bit lackluster, whereas this is just S tier. I'm gonna listen to this on like whatever you kids listen to now, Spotify or whatever it is.
You kids, Spotify. I will say the intro movie was mostly the same lyrics of the Turtles theme that I know, but not the Turtles theme that I know. And so my brain immediately wanted to sing along, but the pacing between notes and verses was different, even though the lyrics are the same. And it was like
slightly different.
Yeah, but it was just, again, we're talking like that theme song is like built into my autonomic nerve system. Like there was a timing that it should happen in, and it didn't do it. And I was like, oh, fuck, what?
Well, you can tell that, what is it, .emu devs know what they're doing, because I let that intro video play with the music, and I was like, what if I don't press A and just let it stay here? And it looped, so they know what they're doing.
Nice.
So yeah. So I just let that loop.
The only reason
I didn't... 5 minutes the first time I started.
The only reason I didn't listen to it again was because I was streaming. But you know what I did when I was streaming was I stopped everything, turned my mic down, and the audio up to make sure everyone could just enjoy what was happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and I might go watch that movie maybe this weekend.
Which movie? You mean
not?
The original 1990s movie?
Yes, the very rubbery one.
Fucking so good. Look, I love Secret of the Ooze.
Secret of the Ooze, yeah.
Like, it's so good, but the OG movie is so wonderfully dark.
In tone and in
and literally like it was not filled. But like the thing is, Secret of the Ooze was well lit, and they had better suits, but the suits looked more fake. Although there's some documentaries because I definitely I miss my old Blu-ray collection. I bought the first Blu-ray collection of TMNT series that was available, and it had all kinds of weird bonus stuff, and it was in this weird case. But one of the things that had was bonus features on behind the scenes on the animatronics, and I'm sure you could find those on YouTube. Like look up the TMNT Secret of the Ooze animatronic stuff. It's crazy how like it makes sense in like hindsight, but like these are just robot mouths that they synced to actual speech. But those are totally divorced things, and they look crazy, like they look fake, but they move real, if that makes sense.
Well,
like at no point did you not think, oh, this guy's not talking. You just thought he was a puppet. But the thing is, the talking was crazily not really attached to the talk. Like the speech and the movement of the mouth are in sync via like pure grit almost. And it's worth looking into. Boy, do I miss practical effects. Whatever.
Yeah, and it was just the craftsmanship that I used to go into those films was just on another level, and we've lost that now. It's just crap CGI with crap Marvel movies. But I digress.
I mean, I'm going to digress very slightly now. But I always remember as a kid them being Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Because
what?
Yeah, so I've just looked this up.
This is a weird British thing, isn't it?
The censorship board in the UK basically didn't like violence in kids' TV, so they didn't. So Ninjas was basically like a no-go area, so they had to change it to Hero Turtles. So the theme tune was Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, rather than Ninjas. And on what I'm just reading, it suggests that they didn't like ninjas, but I'd also then reverted to nunchucks. So there's lots in the UK version of the movies. There's lots of edited out scenes of Michelangelo using nunchucks. So basically, Michelangelo does no fighting.
Wait, what?
In the UK version.
Leo has swords.
Swords, mate. I mean, who gives a shit about swords?
I mean,
swords have been in the UK history for years.
I'm gonna
Nunchucks, though. None of those foreign fucking weapons. get those fucking things out of it.
What, with the UK government being xenophobic?
No, I think it's because people seriously hurt themselves with nunchucks. Can you
And the problem
imagine
was
everyone
in
who watched
Bruce Lee,
Canada,
mate.
You know,
Don't blame the
that's what
turtles.
I'm saying.
Blame
Everyone
Bruce
who
Lee.
watched a Bruce Lee
Yeah.
film,
So nunchucks
probably
became
coming into
illegal
Jackie
in
Chan
Canada.
era as well. Every Westerner would have bought nunchucks and seriously, they would have knocked their front teeth out. So let's be real. Yeah.
So yeah,
And we
like
don't have the best dental health care.
Yeah.
In this
I don't think that
country, so-
exists anymore, right? This is released as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We don't have that level
that
of
went away,
censorship
yeah.
still around the turtles within the UK.
No.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
I say this, but nunchucks were also illegal in Canada in the same way as like butterfly knives were. They were in the same category of like pop culture bannings of weapons.
Mm.
And
I
the
don't even
thing
know
is,
if
they
that's ever
didn't
been
even eat
changed.
pizza in the British one. They ate beef Wellington.
Wow.
And Splinter
well
was
done.
governor rather than fucking, sensei.
Hello, Gaffer.
Hello, governor. What's going on?
I need
You've
a
got to go and get that
UK.
shredder, fella. Yeah, right.
I-
Don't use your
I need-
nunchucks, though. It's fine. Use your sword. It's all right.
I need I need the turtles to have like a different British regional accent. Like
Oh
one's a
yeah,
Geordie.
it's like J.M. Turner.
Leonardo's from Essex.
No, but their name would change, right? I'm trying to
No,
think of
just keep it
other
the same.
famous painters from the UK.
all the British, like turn of the
I
century
guess
Renaissance
impressionists
painters,
or whatever,
impressionists,
something where
absolutely,
British art was
Yeah.
actually lauded.
yeah.
Donatello, the smartest one, is gonna have like a thick yam accent. Like, yeah.
Oh, now I really want to. I wish I was.
double barrel, mate. I don't need my nunchucks. I've got my
Oh man, I wish I was better at art so that I would make this. Oh, but wait, hold on a second. So they would be middle-aged?
Mm-hmm.
Would they be turtles?
I mean, they'd be
Yeah,
turtles,
they'd be
but
the exact same.
they'd be as
but just
fucking,
British.
they'd be as pale as they could possibly be.
Oh, there'll be albino turtles, not mutant turtles.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's finish our chat there for
That's
the
fair.
episode on turtles and on the games that we have been playing, and jump back into the beers.
I will
tomorrow.
just
So-
say this makes me want that Konami collection so much more.
oh yes,
Yeah. It's coming out. Is it this
Soon.
year still?
it is. It's meant to be this year. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is like
really-
such
really
a
like it.
teaser for
Mhm.
what if you could just buy 12 of these.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
like,
looking
yes.
forward to that, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Brilliant.
The beers we've been drinking.
The beers we've been drinking. I'll jump in with the Pomona Island because it did change as I was drinking it. That kind of very burnt, roasted licorice note did subside slightly, and a bit more of the lactose came through. A little bit of sweetness kicked in towards the back end, but right towards the back end. Like not even the last half. It's even less than that last quarter of this beer, perhaps, when that flavour, when those notes had started to subside slightly, that it opened up a little bit, but not much. Lucy, you don't like licorice. This is not the beer for you.
Okay.
It's
I'll avoid that one then.
it's kind of like Pomona Island are usually like knockout beers,
Yeah.
and they usually hit it. And this might be exactly what they were going for. But if you don't like
True.
licorice, stick away from this beer. If you do like licorice, you love it, absolutely pick this up. This would be exactly for everybody. Aadil.
I will say the malts came a lot more through in the last two thirds. Well, half to last third. As the more standard flavors my palate got used to. I will say still a bit dank, still a bit sweet, but a lot more of the malts, almost like a breadiness came through, which just really like fleshed out what I think was missing when I said, "Oh, this feels like kind of standard IPA," and there's no problem with that. But it's like, oh, actually, there is this underlying breadiness that it gives it a bit more depth. Still quite light in a way that I was expecting it to be heavier, but like, yeah, really tasty. Slight bit of fruitiness. Again, I think the tin said something about being dank, and it has a pininess
Mm-hmm.
and a resininess, but I think in the beginning that sort of more sweet, sort of quintessential IPA flavor was the predominant thing, and by the end it was like, oh, actually the malts and that slightly breadiness are the predominant flavor, and maybe in the middle the dank might have been at the surface, but I'm really surprised. I'm always surprised when the flavor text is like, oh, it's this, and you're like, I see this, but I see so much. Well, I taste this, and I taste other things way more. But that again, my palate is different. Your palate may vary. Is that a thing? Is that a
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
YPMV? That's a tanked up exclusive term. YPMV. But no, it's really tasty. Regardless.
Will never be used again that time.
Oh,
I've
I'll
already forgotten
remember
what
it.
it is.
We will. Yeah, we'll
I
absolutely.
only-
You didn't remember it.
I only like IPA-ness.
Yeah, IPA-ness is very good.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with that one still.
News games as well. We come with news games. That's always.
Oh yeah, I was thinking
Yeah,
on the beer front. No,
that's-
news games, I still think make better sense than any other term that other people have used.
Good.
Agreed.
A lovely place for us.
And if
to
you don't
finish.
know, listen to the rest of the 330 episodes to figure out what the fuck we're talking about, because we're not
We'll find
defining it here.
Exactly. Good. They've been the beers that we have drunk this episode and the games that we have been playing. If you want to let us know what you've been playing or what you've been drinking, you can go to @TankedUpCast on all of the socials. I'm at Nova_47. Lucy is.
Juicy Loose 9.
And Aadil is.
We're at the Omniarch.
And if you've been playing Turtles and you want to jump into a multiplayer game, find
yeah,
some
we can
friends. Don't come to us.
So, I don't want to ruin the outro, but I have no urge to not play this, to play this with people who aren't in the room with me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I get it, it's the modern era, but like I want to sit down with a friend and play through that game, or two other, three friends
Yeah.
or whatever. But like, I want to play it in the same room. That's what this game would excel at. Same thing with Streets of Rage 4. We did try doing it online with remote play, and it was fine. But also, we were on Discord.
That
which
aged
helps a
me
lot.
by about 3 years, so I
Yeah.
just want to play this in my bed on my Steam Deck alone,
Yeah,
with
fair
the
enough.
lights off, with the curtains closed,
That's
naked. That's how I want to play this. Yeah.
It's fair.
As Michelangelo would want you to.
With a pizza.
Not the turtle, the Renaissance,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Artist.
Art.
fucking- not even artist,
Art
but just
man.
Renaissance man. Would like you to. It's exactly how he envisaged the future. Good.
Leonardo da
Sure he did.
Vinci created helicopters before his time. Michelangelo, someone playing a Steam Deck with a
Yep.
pizza, and the game they were playing has this weird turtle version of himself that just has his name.
As long as you're naked, Michelangelo is absolutely happy
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong.
not.
Weirdly.
Exactly. We're historic as well as crude. Join us for another 300
Depends.
odd episodes, and go to outoflives.net to find all of those and all of the other things that we write and produce, and the games that we play and the streams that we do. You can get us Out of Lives Network on Twitch or on YouTube to see our beautiful faces and the beers that we have been drinking. Thank you very much for joining us this week. We've been Tanked Up, and we shall see you very soon. Goodbye.
Tubular, dude.
I just no.
www.outoflives.net.
No, my outro is just a laugh. It's just gonna be laughing. I was gonna try and come up with a turtles quip, but actually,
Not radical. Cowabunga.
yeah, Cowabunga would be the classic.
Mm.
The thing is, so Donnie's my favorite character. He doesn't have a specific
Because he's
tagline.
boring.
He's not boring.
He is.
He
Mikey's
made the
best
turtle van
turtle.
out of scrap.
Well,
The rest of them all
I
hanging out
could-
being cool, and Donatello's like, no, I've got work to do, mate, sorry.
exactly. Yeah.
Look, I know I picked the nerdy character, and I was too nerdy as a kid to realize he was nerdy. He made the. So there's an episode where they have the rocket skateboard, and I was gonna say he made the rocket skateboard, and then I realized, yeah, but Michelangelo's the one who took it and got into trouble with it. Oh, yeah, I was an idiot child. Of course, Michelangelo was the cooler one.
Yeah.